Taemu found out that Hari's been lying to him and has been exacting his revenge, but at the end of the last episode, he accidentally calls her by her real name, revealing that he knows the truth. Hello everyone, welcome back to 10-Minute Recaps. Today, we'll be watching episode 6 of Business Proposal. When Taemu accidentally calls Gurmi Hari, he's forced to admit that he's known the truth for ages. But before Hari can think through this news, they have to rush to the police station to help Yong-seo out. Luckily for the girls, Yong-seo had put the lamp in the living room, so they didn't have any private pictures taken. Less luckily, Korean law is still living in the 20th century, and the police can't do anything about the pervert. Taemu isn't going to let the law get in the way of justice, and we get to see the power of overwhelming wealth in action. Taemu buys the company the pervert works for, just so he can fire him, and he even finds all the previous victims of the pervert and pays for their lawyers to sue him. The pervert, who was gloating about the law just a minute ago, turns into a snivelling wreck that begs Taemu for mercy. Mercy that won't be coming. The pervert even dares to ask Taemu why he's hellbent on destroying his life. The hypocrisy is crazy. How many people's lives has he destroyed himself? Meanwhile, Hari has figured out a few things. If Taemu knew that Gurmi was Hari, that means all the bullying she's been experiencing at work was revenge. How can she survive at work if her boss's boss hates her? When Taemu goes to look for Hari, she avoids him out of fear. Taemu even sees her hiding behind a table, but decides not to immediately confront her as she's so desperate not to meet him. Instead, he sends her a message asking to meet after work. Taemu has finally admitted to himself that he's fallen in love with Shin Hari and her kind personality, regardless of whether she's dressed flamboyantly like Gurmi or normally like Hari. He's decided that he's going to propose to her, for real this time. So-hoon's not so sure he should jump straight to marriage, but the ever-confident Taemu can't believe anyone would ever reject him. He even plans a romantic proposal in a restaurant, with him touching his hair as a signal to start. But dinner doesn't go to plan. Hari thinks that Taemu's meeting her to punish her for lying, and when she gets there, she keeps apologizing, and even hands Taemu her resignation letter. Taemu's completely taken aback, and he gets so flustered he brushes his hair. The staff interpret this as a signal to start the proposal, at the worst possible time. Taemu manages to signal them away in the nick of time, but of course, the proposal doesn't even get asked. He goes to Sung-hoon to ask for his advice, and gets told that since the best moments he's shared with Hari came when they pretended to date, all Hari knows is that he's a scary, evil boss who's set her terrible workloads, and she has no idea that he actually likes her. He needs to start from the very beginning. Meanwhile, Hari's having lunch with some old friends. The friends can't help but bring up how Hari's always been so close to Min-woo, and how they assumed they would get together. This gets overheard by Min-woo's current girlfriend, who of course gets annoyed and starts making sly digs at Hari's expense, about how Hari's never had a boyfriend and no one wants her. Yong-seo can't stand this and makes up a perfect boyfriend for Hari. Kind, handsome, and rich. This sounds an awful lot like someone we know. Min-woo seems slightly disappointed to hear Hari has a boyfriend now, which just annoys his girlfriend even more. The next day, Taemu calls Hari to his office and tears up her resignation letter. He tells her that she's going to have to work overtime as an apology for lying instead. Hari's a little annoyed she needs to work extra, but hey, at least she kept her job. After work, she comes to the place where she needs to do overtime. It's a cinema? Taemu tells her that they need to watch a film related to food for research, and somehow Hari believes this. Clearly, Taemu is one of those people that prefers their partners to be less intelligent than them. In classic Taemu fashion, he's booked out the entire cinema just for them. When he very kindly helps Hari adjust her seat, They come face to face and set off butterflies in Hari's stomach. She makes an excuse and rushes to the toilet to calm down, but runs into two of her colleagues when coming back. They're here to watch a different film, and when they see that Hari's got a whole cinema to herself and unlimited food, they decide to switch cinemas and watch with Hari. Hari doesn't want to be seen with Tae-moo and makes him crawl out of the cinema to avoid any awkward questions. After hours, the movie is finally over, and so is Tae-moo's wait. Or is it? When Tae-moo calls Hari, she asks him whether he got home safe, and Tae-moo is too proud to admit that he sat there waiting for her, and pretends he got home already. So much for having a nice date. Meanwhile, Young-seo is waiting for the bus, visibly uncomfortable. Sung-hoon's driving past and sees her, so offers to take her home. Unfortunately, they run into a traffic jam, and Young-seo gets even more agitated. It turns out she needs to go to the toilet, but after the pervert incident, she doesn't feel safe outside and wanted to go home to her own toilet. But she can't stand it anymore and jumps out of the car, running off to find a toilet nearby. She does find a toilet, but of course it's locked. At the last second, like an angel from heaven, Sung-hoon turns up and kicks the door in, letting her relieve herself. I feel so bad for Young-seo. Can you imagine doing something so embarrassing in front of your crush? Meanwhile, the other couple's relationship is going just as badly. They can't even get a proper date. When he's at a company event with Grandad, he makes up an excuse and leaves early for his date. The cunning Grandad sees this and immediately guesses the truth. Sung-hoon can only nod awkwardly as he hopes that Grandad doesn't find out Gurmi's real identity. Tae-moo and Hari meet in a beautiful seaside town, once again on the pretext of doing research for work. Tae-moo's done lots of research on Hari's social media and knows that she wants to go to a special food truck. This food truck moves around Korea randomly, but to make sure that Hari gets to try it out, Tae-moo pays for the food truck to come to the area without telling her. In return, Tae-moo finally gets a chance to talk to Hari without interruption. Money really can buy happiness. Back in Seoul, Young-seo bumps into Sung-hoon again at a restaurant. The embarrassment of the previous day is still fresh in her mind, and she drinks way too much before escaping from the restaurant when Sung-hoon goes to the toilet. Sung-hoon's worried she'll be in danger because she's so drunk, and chases after her to take her home. The drunk Young-seo can't help but confess her feelings, and laments how Sung-hoon always wants to draw a line in the sand. When she warns Sung-hoon that he's crossing the line and she's going to cross it back, but Sung-hoon doesn't let go, Young-seo kisses him all of a sudden. What a cliffhanger to leave us on. Back with Tae-moo and Hari, they're driving back to Seoul when it starts raining heavily. This triggers some scary flashbacks with Tae-moo, who forces Hari to get out in the middle of nowhere, leaving the bemused Hari standing in the pouring rain. She manages to find a hotel nearby to crash at, but coincidentally her friends are there as well. Min-woo's girlfriend starts pressuring her to show them her perfect boyfriend, who of course doesn't exist. Hari is just about to admit the truth when Tae-moo shows up out of nowhere, fully recovered from his nervous breakdown, and pretends to be Hari's boyfriend. How will Hari react? If you'd like to find out, don't forget to like and subscribe.